Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Real Talk with Yogi Ji. We're going to be entering some more conversation. We'll be answering a lot of your questions that you've sent through. So I hope you're excited for today's show. Please join me in welcoming Yogi Ji to today's show. Welcome, Yogi Ji.
Sat karta.
Sat karta hai. I hope you're enjoying yourself during lockdown.
It's productive. Yes, indeed.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And you ready for today? We're going to take some of the questions that came in from some of the viewers, but I'll come to those in the second half. I wanted to address that this month is Mental Health Awareness Month, and mental health is generally a topic in the Punjabi and Sikh community, even in the South Asian community, that isn't so well discussed. And I'd like you to help us understand, why is there so much stigma around mental health in the South Asian community?
I personally believe it's a big issue for humanity, regardless of cultural or racial profile of humans, Southeast Asians or Punjabis or Indians. But I think it is a conflict within us that we as humans are suffering with. If you look into the plants, if you look into animals, do they suffer from a bad episode when it comes to, do they get stressed? Do they get anxious? Yes, indeed. So every living being will have to go through either the low or either the high side of their contemplation, their thinking patterns. So, but it becomes a problem. It becomes a very big issue when it is not addressed, when we don't know what we are going through. Then how are we going to go through when we have no idea what's happening to us? Why is it happening to us? We're not being able to diagnose these things. Of course, it will create a fear. Unknown is always not very comfortable. When we don't know what is happening to us, what possibilities will make us anxious. And if we can't shake those things already happened to us and created scars, and we don't know how to address those issues, it will cause a depression. And if I look back into the life of my master, Sahib Sri Guru Nanak Sahib, who created this revolution for humanity 550 years ago, when he came about and started to put this program of mental health betterment for humanity. If I look into, there is a one word from Gurmukhi, which is Gabiye. It means in English the expression of emotional state, that conversation between amongst us. And another word he uses back to back is called suniye, and that means is a listening to that state. So he equips us to not just elaborate our emotional state, not just express our emotional state, but he put emphasis on the developing this skill, how to listen to these things. If you can listen, then only then you will know some possibilities. If you are a learner, if you are a seeker, mean Sikh, and you are learning this art, then you will know how to diagnose. He will coach you. But mental health is a natural thing. It can become a curse if you don't know. If you don't master it, of course, it will become a disaster. But what if you know what to do? As we did talk about it, making the right decision at the wrong time. The wrong time is when you're stressed, when you're, if I use this analogy, like, create a straight line, and if one side goes up, then there is no balance. Like if you are anxious, then your stress levels are high, or if you're depressed, then your stress levels are, they're taking you to a lower level. Now, in the both scenarios, you have to do different things. But if you don't know where your levels are, are you anxious or are you depressed? If you can't diagnose, what can you do? So these months, sadly, we reach to these points that we have mental health weeks, we have mental health months, that people need to be reminded that, hey, look within, contemplate, and do something, and don't just suffer in silence. Don't ignore these things. Um, these months are created, these little points throughout the years, in West created, so people are looking within themselves. But Guru Nanak Sahib done, my master did this hundreds of years ago. And if you look into, I'm just going to give you a very quick example of, there is a community which become a society and became a nation called Sikhs. A lot of Punjabis in there, and throughout the world they have gurdwaras. In these rough times, these demanding times, what they did, they opened the langar for everybody. Although it's always open for anybody who's hungry, anybody who needs food, but this time they went like even to deliver to those houses where there was no food, and they, that compassion, that giving thing came in, because Guru Nanak Sahib embedded that system into how we think. How we think is just an amazing thing. And Guru Nanak Sahib's blessing, um, having some forms of his education still with us, um, made us able and capable to do the right thing in this demanding and this pandemic time. So this is how you make the right decision at the wrong time. So communities need to equip themselves. They need to put themselves into a situation where they think, can we diagnose what's happening to us? If you don't know what's happening to you, how are you going to know what's happening to your society? So
Right.
yes, this
Uh,
month is dedicated.
so, sorry to interrupt you there. Um,
No problem.
I agree with what you're saying, but my question is, um, what you're talking about is beautiful, and it's an ideal, but it's not something that is common in our community. So if this is what Guru Nanak talks about and encourages us to be in connection with our expression of being able to listen and understand and express what we're feeling, there is a huge culture of silence which is embedded into the whole South Asian community. Where does that come from then?
It comes from, again, ignorance, and which also created a division, and arrogance also. Division mean there was a suppression. That means the suppression will bring imbalance into community. Like, for example, caste system in Southeast Asia's this region, India especially, um, where Brahminic system says there are Brahmins, there are Kshatris, there are Vash and Shudras. Means there are people who are very well educated, and Brahmins, they understand everything, and they are the coach, they are the teachers, they are the people who will be responsible to educate everything on this planet. Then it comes Kshatri, that the warrior clan which will defend the nation. They are the rulers, but they are under the Brahmins. Then it comes the Vash, so the business community, how everything is running around, from little thing to big businesses are under the finance of the whole nation is under their hand. But they for they will be answerable to Kshatriya, they will be answerable to Brahman. Brahman is the ruler behind everything, and then there is a Shudra which have no right. They they are number 4. They are the last area, and they will be suppressed. They will be used as a slaves wherever, whatever the wishes of any of those, like Kshatriya or Brahman, or but then it led into the caste system within these things. The Brahmins had many different castes, and Kshatriya, and it created the collision amongst them. Now, if we look back into um, to the caste system in Punjab, we see clearly two definitive lines between um, the landlords and people who work on those lands. And uh, although they both, according to Brahminic system, are Shudra, they are in a fourth category, but the collision is a big. And here, I think that evolution happened when Guru Nanak Sahib came in. He called one which was a Shudra, and Guru Nanak was born into according to those assessment in Kshatriya clan, in those brackets. But then embracing by Mardana and calling him brother was a huge revolution. I mean, that was big no in a community of Brahmins or Kshatriyas. And then Guru Gobind Singh, when he says, Manas ki jaat sab hai, ek hai pehchan bo, mean we are humans. That is the only thing we are. We're not white. We're not black and a brown. Do not put yourself in a cage that you are a Christian or Buddhist, or you're human first. And understand that strength, that gift. Because not recognizing who we are, what we are, and lowering our aim will cause a stress, and our society is a suffering from this. There are issues, but those are the issues to be addressed. We are humans, and we have been given this capacity. All we need to do, Jasveer Kaurji, is educate ourselves. We need to seek from those who found the answers. It's never late. When you need help, call for it. Like the things our viewers, they sent us a lot of questions, and maybe there was some confusion in their head, in their psyche. I'm not saying I have answers for every single question of yours, but what I'm saying to share with you that if I don't have an answer, we will together find the answer. But we need to start this conversation. We need to open up, open our hearts, and accept our reality, and then it will take us to our issues, that what is wrong happening with us.